welcome to my little bookish corner of the internet. My name's Harriet. Today I'm going to be going through the books that I want to read in the month of October. I honestly am finding it quite hard to believe how quickly this year is going. It feels like time is just slipping away from me, but October is one of my favourite months of the year. I feel like that's when the seasons really start to change and the nights start getting darker, the mornings are darker, and you just want to stay cosy inside with a nice book. So I'm hoping the books on this list I'll be able to get to all of them, if not a couple more. But yeah, let's get started. I can't wait to show you what I want to read. So I think the first book that I'm going to want to start off the month with will be Lavinia by Ursula Le Guin. I feel like this is going to be one of those really cosy reads and something that I can really sink myself into. I always find this author's writing to be super captivating and beautiful. I feel like that's just the perfect way to set off my reading month. So if you didn't know the story about this, we are following a young girl called Lavinia. She's the young princess of Latium and encounters a poet who foretells her future to marry a Trojan hero named Aeneas and found a great kingdom and a mighty dynasty. Lavinia's mother has other plans: to marry her daughter off to an ambitious neighbouring king, and her father is plagued with indecision. But when a fleet of foreign warships sails into the mouth of the river Tiber, Lavinia knows her destiny is calling. So I feel like this is going to be a very moving and touching story about a young girl and how she's going to fight back against maybe her parents that don't want the absolute best things for her. And it'll probably be a really nice coming of age story as well. There might be some dark themes in here. I feel like with a lot of historical fiction, there is that kind of darkness that seeps into the story, and there's usually a lot of violence and things like that. But I do think, hopefully, that I'm going to really enjoy this. And I'm actually going to be doing a buddy read with someone on Instagram for this as well, which is going to just be extra exciting. And then sticking with the historical fiction, I really want to get to The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. I've heard so many amazing things about this book and this author just in general as well. In terms of story, we are following what happens when the Greek Queen Helen is kidnapped by Trojans. The Greeks sail in pursuit, besieging the city of Troy, but trapped in the Greek soldiers' camp is another captured queen called Briseis. I really hope I'm saying her name right, I'm probably not. But she is condemned to be a bed slave to Achilles, who is the man that butchered her family, and she becomes a pawn in a menacing game between bored and frustrated warriors. In the centuries after this most famous war, history will write her off, a footnote in a bloody story scripted by vengeful men, but Briseis has a very different tale to tell. I've heard this is extremely dark and that there are quite a lot of content warnings, but I recently watched the film Troy. It wasn't the best thing in the world, but it really got me wanting to read this and see what Briseis' story would be. So I am extremely excited to get to this one, and hopefully I will love it. I feel like it would be perfect to read after Lavinia because they've both got that kind of historical fiction aspect in there. So yeah, that is The Silence of the Girls. And then after those two shorter books, I thought I'd torture myself with a book that is split into two parts, and if it wasn't, it would be over 1,000 pages long. So I am going to try and finish the A Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin in the month of October. Wish me luck. So we've got A Dance for Dragons. This is the first book, Dreams and Dust, which is big enough anyway. And then we've got the second part, which is called After the Feast. If you put them together, this is how big they are. So yeah. I won't say too much about these books. If you do want to see my reviews for the previous ones, they have got spoilers in there, but I will leave a playlist link down below so you can check that out because I have reviewed all of the other books in the series. I don't know if my review for A Feast of Crows will be up yet, but it will be up really soon. I have filmed it already. But yeah, just waiting to find a time to put it up. So yeah, hopefully I can get to these. They're going to take up quite a lot of time, I think. This one will probably take around about a week and a half, 2 weeks to read. The other one is quite a bit smaller, so I'm hoping that'll take about a week. But that is most of my month taken up by these. So if I read anything after these two, that would just be amazing. Oh, and if you didn't already know what the A Song of Ice and Fire series is about, it's basically a very intense high fantasy series. It's got a lot of political intrigue in there, amazing character development and world building as well. So if you are a lover of fantasy, I definitely recommend checking it out. And then we'll move on to something that is a little bit more light-hearted and a little bit shorter as well, thankfully. And that is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I don't even think I really need to talk about the plot for this. You're all going to already know what it's about. But I am really excited to read it. It's kind of like a modern day romance, and I've heard that it is very honest and raw. and that it is quite emotional as well. It's going to be my first time trying this author's writing, but I really hope that I do enjoy it. I have heard so many good things, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed. And then the last book is something that I think is just going to be really cozy and very nature driven and very emotionally driven as well, and that is The Salt Path by Raynor Winn. Now this is actually following a true story, and we're following Raynor Winn, who learned that Moth, who's her husband, is terminally ill, and with nothing left and little time, they impulsively decide to walk the 630-mile southwest coast path from Somerset to Dorset via Devon and Cornwall. And it's supposed to be kind of their journey and how they felt so liberated after doing this and during doing this. And I think it does also follow people that they meet as well, and just their general experience. Now, me and my partner recently, or not so recently, I think it's been a couple months now, but we went wild camping in Cornwall and then moved along to Devon. So I feel like I'm gonna really get the vibe of this book and really get those feelings, and it's gonna give me some kind of memories and nostalgia as well. And that is something that I've been really looking forward to reading ever since I bought it. Yeah, hopefully I really enjoyed this one as well. And it is based on a true story, which I think is just amazing. So yeah, that is it for my TBR for October. There's only 6 books, but 2 of them are pretty chunky, so they're going to take up a lot of my time. And if I don't read them all, that's completely fine. I've still got a couple months left in the year for things that I really want to get to, and there's always next year as well. Definitely let me know down below what you'd like to read in the month of October, but that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!